Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, the 17th of May, and I'm in Atkins, Virginia at the Comfort Inn. Yesterday when we came off the AT, we went to the barn, and I got their meatloaf special, and mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, and then said goodbye to some of the people I've been hiking with who were hiking on, and I began to hitchhike over here to the Comfort Inn, which is about 4 miles away. There's two places to stay in town. One's a Relax Inn, which is a motor hotel right there by the AT. It's $50 a night. Over here at the Comfort Inn, it was $75. I decided I wanted to go with a real hotel with beds, and they got their breakfast in here that they have. And I know my mom won't be very excited to hear that I'm hitchhiking, and it's still a little uncomfortable to do that. Not a whole lot of traffic, so I started walking. Most of the people that came by weren't, the vehicles weren't right. They're, just sedans with people, full of people, and there's no place to put a pack of meat. But then a minivan came by and pulled over, and lo and behold, there was a couple of thru-hikers in there, Shovel and Stumbles, and one of their dads was they're out here doing a little bit of section hiking with them. So also we ran into Thin Mint. She hiked this last section with us, and her dad and their dog. So he had come out to hike. So a lot of that's been happening where people are rendezvousing. I've got a son that's going to come out here hopefully in July and meet me and do some hiking with me. So anyway, they were headed to the Comfort Inn, so that worked out fortuitously, and I didn't have to walk all the way in. Once I got situated, I had to go back towards the other end of town by a mile to do my laundry and do a little bit of resupply at the Dollar General. I didn't get into town soon enough to get to the post office before it closed. So this morning it was raining. That's the last thing I felt like do was hiking back another, almost a mile and a half one way to the post office. So I called for a taxi, and it was $15 to come from Marion, and then $3 to go down to the post office and then bring me back. So I gave the guy 20, and so that $20 worth of food cost that plus the $13.75 to ship plus the 20 for the taxi. So honestly, I probably would have been better off just to abandon the food I bought too much when I was in Damascus. So oh well, lessons learned, and I thought it was a good idea at the time that I did it, but in the end, it was maybe logistically a little more costly. Plus, maybe if I hadn't shipped it, I would have just stayed at the Relax Inn and not worried about coming all the way down this way again. So anyway, oh well, lessons learned. It's a nice hotel. The beds were really nice last night. So one of the subscribers asked me to do a little assessment about doing a section hike from Watauga Lake to Marion. So that first half, which goes from Watauga Lake to Damascus, that's a great hike. It's not super demanding. You're walking around the lake, do a little bit of climbing up. It's not too bad, and then that long ridgeline walk. The biggest thing there is to watch your water management. The last 2 days I did 16 milers. So if you're not quite up to doing that kind of mileage, then there's the two shelters that I skipped was the Iron Mountain shelter, and I skipped Edmonton shelter. So those are two shelters that you could add into your timing on your hike. A lot of great places to stay in Damascus when you come down, from hostels to B&Bs. The Hikers Inn I really liked. Lee and Paul were excellent hosts, and they've got 4 hostel beds. They've got a private hostel bed room, and then they've got that trailer, and they've got actually some rooms in the house. So what they don't do is the breakfast. So, but there's plenty of places to eat. And then when you leave, you got two choices. If you're purist, you want to stay on the AT, you'll do some climbing coming out. It's not super bad. I just didn't give myself enough time. I didn't get out of town till 10 o'clock, so I kind of messed up my timing with shelters to try and get to Lost Mountain. Or you could just hike up the Virginia Creeper and then join at the AT at the top and then go up to Lost Mountain from there. Um, White top that was a difficult one for me. I think a lot of that day was I think I was very dehydrated. I didn't realize how badly dehydrated I was. Um, so and actually in all that section, see there's water management is a little bit harder. The water's a little bit scarcer, and it seems like at a lot of the shelters, the water's not there at the shelters. You've got to do a little bit of hiking down, or know ahead of time that, oh, you better grab it on the way in because that's the water source, and then you'd have to turn and walk back. But and then going up Mount Rogers was pretty rocky. It made it a little more difficult because it was raining and the water was flowing down the trail, and that was when I was glad I still had Gore-Tex boots. To be honest with you, if you had trail runners, this definitely was a day that you're going to really have wet feet. And but it was a beautiful mountain. I wish I could have had better views for most of Mount Rogers, and when I finally got kind of past it is when the clouds finally cleared. And of course the highlands are just amazing. I love going through the highlands. It was a lot different than anything else I'd done yet on the trail, so you get a lot of different variety there. And then that last section that it was 19 miles. Probably a better idea to stop at the shelter that's what was the name of that shelter? Had the stone fireplace in it. Trimpy. I'd go ahead and stop there and then make that last push into the partnership shelter. Now, if you really wanted to make this a little bit more special, if you had the time, consider starting actually at Rowan Mountain, Tennessee, there at the Harbor Mountain Hostel. Stay there, have their breakfast, and then hike up and go to the two falls there, and go to the Mountaineer, and then that next day make the trip down and see Laurel Falls and stay at the shelter there, and then you can go into Hampton, or you can climb over Pond Mountain, and then you get to Watauga Lake and go over. So, and then this last day I really enjoyed. So from partnership, leaving there and going down by the schoolhouse there and the Settlers Museum, and then that hike back down here into Atkins. It was like going through the Shire. Now I did run into a guy last night who he was at the laundromat. He said they're supposed to burn that area, which is really kind of sad. And I did see some burn notices at the partnership shelter. Didn't really recognize what area since I'm not from here, but so that might make sense that it might be that area they're going to do a controlled burn in. But so check with that before you make the commitment. But I really enjoyed that was about 11, maybe 11.9. We'll call it 12-mile hike in. So definitely something to consider. So anyway, that's my assessment of that for a reviewer. I can't remember your whole channel name, but it ends in 2122, so you'll know who you are. So there's your assessment of the possible section hike. So all right, we'll see you on the trail tomorrow, everybody. Good night.